Hello and welcome everyone to the first live stream in this new series called Dev Discussion. So today's stream is going to be slightly different to what we've done previously. So usually it's myself and Gina, one of the co-founders of Moonfrost. But with Dev Discussion, we're going to be talking to one of the devs each time, and we're going to get to find out a bit more about them and what they're doing on Moonfrost. So I'm super excited to jump into this one with our first developer. If you have any questions around anything to do with what each developer actually does, please put them in the chat. We're really excited to kind of get those key questions. If you're getting questions more generically about Moonfrost, those would probably be better suited for a different style of live stream. But if you want to ask them, please do. Just know that we can't spend all of the time talking about other things to do with Moonfrost, because the main focus today is to dive into actually game development. So without further ado, I'll bring the first developer in this series onto stage, Joe, and he can introduce himself.
Hey everyone, like Jace mentioned, my name's Joe. I've been working on Moonfrost for about 2 years now. Joined in as a senior generalist, so everything I do is basically around 3D, whether it's modeling, animation, texturing, all those types of things. So yeah, looking forward to getting into this and talking more about Moonfrost and what we've been doing.
Awesome, sounds good. There might be an issue with your camera, Joe. I don't see it popping up on my screen yet, so let's try and do a little bit of a tech fix.
How's this? Hello?
Chat, can we see Joe, or is it just my screen that's going slow now with this?
Oh no, I'm getting the muting issue again. Hang on.
Sorry about this, people. We've got a little bit of tech difficulties today, so we're trying out some new tech. So can't see Joe's camera. Okay, we are working on it. So thank you for letting us know. Hoping I can get into the next playtest. So yeah, when we're waiting for kind of the tech issues with Joe, we can jump into that. So Alpha Release 3 will be coming this month. We are doing really well when it comes to being on track with our targets and releases. So what we're going to be doing over the next week to 2 weeks, we're actually going to be telling you kind of what to expect regarding playing Alpha Release 3, which will be a closed alpha. So exposing kind of how you can get on that list. Awesome. I think Joe's back up, so let's try him again. Nope, he is having some tech difficulties. Awesome, there you go. I can see you.
Oh no, it's the mute again. It's the mute issue, 1 second.
We are having some tech issues this time. Sorry, everyone. This is all part of the fun, part of the process. So we will get into kind of more about Joe though, because he's going to be sharing some really cool things going forward for today. So very, very excited. Yeah, we've got some diversity. So that's kind of one of the things about developer discussions. It won't be like the project high level overview like we usually go into with Gina. But what we're trying to do with this is really take a deeper dive into game development. So how you're actually seeing Moonfrost being built from the people building it. So cool. Right, we'll try third time's the charm. Thank you for bearing with us, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
Can you hear me,
Sorry
Joe?
about that. Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Awesome. Yep. Yeah, we're on now. So
great.
Sweet.
Yeah, really sorry about that. For some reason, going full screen on my iPad just completely breaks everything. So we'll just have to keep it not full screen.
It's all good. It's one of those. So it's tech issues. We did this, rehearsed it. It was absolutely fine. And then obviously, as soon as we go live, we've got some small issues. But we'll jump straight into it. If you can't hear us, please let us know throughout. I know last time we had a little bit of blipping in and out with kind of mics. We are trying to get our kind of setups better for live streaming. But we are more excited to kind of showcase things to you. So let's jump straight into you, Joe. I think everyone not too interested about me. They hear me probably every single week now. So let's dive into more about you, please. So
everyone loves hearing from you, Chase. What are you talking about? Okay. I'll just go into a bit of my experience then. So I've traditionally come from an indie dev background. So worked on a game called Deep Space Mine, which was a project we put together after uni with some uni pals. We worked on a game called Dungeons and Robots, Retro Drive, which is a project, my personal baby that I released back in 2020, and we've been working on basically bringing that back to fruition. I've also worked in the mobile gaming space for mobile AR, as well as virtual reality as well. I've done a little bit of hyper casual, and I've actually been in the industry for about 10 years now, so I've got quite a bit of experience across quite a lot of different things. And I also previously, before joining Moonfrost, I was working on something you guys might have heard of before, which is Decentraland. So I was working on some of the character updates. So did a character update back in 2022, and I was part of the team that helped update all the characters to the new models that they are now, which is really interesting just to get my first sort of steps into Web3 and what the Web3 ecosystem is all about and how you build for Web3 basically. And I guess we can just jump straight into Moonfrost and some of the development we'll be doing there.
Yeah, no, thank you for that. I think it's like really interesting for people to hear like what people have done previously before Moonfrost, because I think that all plays a big kind of factor into what we're trying to build and what we're trying to create. So Joe's got a lot of experience when it comes to an art background. He's also got some Web3 experience, like you said about Decentraland. So we are starting to open the doors when it comes to kind of where we're going with Moonfrost, which we're really, really excited about because it means more community focus, more players, fast evolutions on playtests and releases, especially in alpha. So super cool. So the main thing we kept getting asked in the community was like, are we getting any leaks or anything like that? I had a chat with Joe and I was there like, right, what can we show? And luckily Joe has been working on a lot of cool stuff. So let's jump straight in with one of the first ones, shall we? So do you want to do paths first? Do you want to talk about paths?
Yeah, let's go straight into paths.
Sweet, let's go.
So one of the things we noticed from the community playtest was a lot of you guys wanted to do make paths, but you're using like the interior floors, which we all felt, okay, you guys clearly want some outdoor floors. So we quickly put together some paths. Basically, they look quite similar to the stones that are already in Moonfrost, but this at least enables you to create paths and add stuff on top of what's currently already there. So this was just something that we've added. It should be in the next playtest, and we're hoping you guys will have fun with it.
Yeah, this is one of the big things we noticed was as soon as you tilled your land, or also when you had like cultivated the soil, after that, people were like, oh, I want to change what the floor is now. But obviously the floor tiles we created to be inside your home, but everyone was using them outside, which is awesome to see creativity. But this is one of the kind of, I'd say, small little quality of life improvements with a new feature. You can build your path. It's going to really add to like the aesthetic of your homestead. So we're super pumped for that. This is one of the small ones. So time for tiling. Let's go on to one of the bigger, probably kind of sneaks. Jump into probably to the village. So I am super excited to like be able to share this with everybody on the stream. So thank you, Joe, for creating this content for this. The village is going to be kind of, like you said, the multiplayer experience of the next alpha release. It's not going to be fully finished multiplayer. We cannot do that in such a short time frame from the previous playtest. But what you will be able to do is see other players, talk to other players, experience new map, and also experience where we're leading to in the future when it comes to social interaction between players off of your homestead. There will be social interaction on your homestead, but that won't be in Alpha Release 3. So let's jump straight into the village.
Yeah, so this is a sped up version of the village. Ava doesn't run like Speedy Gonzalez yet. Hopefully, is it lagging for you, Jace? Oh, it is lagging a bit, yeah. So we've built this entire village. Obviously, it's sped up so you guys can see all of it in quick time, but it's still sort of under construction. As you can see, there are holes in the floor. There are certain areas that need to be built. This here is going to be where the pub is. You've completely run past really quickly. And Yeah, this here is the Frostspire, so this is going to be some interesting events that you guys will get to find out soon. Some random walls that shouldn't be there, and of course the final bit, which is the Lemon store. So this is going to be Walter's store. We've been working quite hard on this, just to try and get it ready, and this is going to be sort of our first thing that's done, so you guys can get a good glimpse of what is the rest of the village going to look like, and we're hoping to be at the same quality as that Lemon store. But yeah, we're building it bit by bit, so you guys are going to get given more and more as we release more and more I guess updates. But yeah, please be patient if things aren't built. We're still trying to build the tech for it and everything else, but yeah, hopefully we're going to get there soon.
Awesome. Yeah, cheers for that. I think one of the things is, so yeah, like Joe said, it is sped up. So what we've tried to do is kind of squeeze in into one of this live stream, kind of what you can see in the village at the moment. But there's definitely some call outs, and like community, you're asking some really good questions and really good insight. So some are talking and touching on about multiplayer itself. Other people are asking, is there any character customization? So Jemmy Junie, sorry if I pronounced that wrong, I will try my best. So we will be having character customization in the future, but it won't be for alpha release 3. So it's good, like I said, alpha release 3 is our closed alpha, and to try and ship as fast as possible in between alpha releases with these big new features like multiplayer. There's a new village. We've touched on rebalancing because that was a really big focus for the community, saying what was going through. We can't get every single feature into alpha release 3. We are looking at what things we should prioritize. One of the big call outs was, like I said, I've mentioned this before in previous streams, but fishing was surprisingly popular with players. So we really went back, looked at what we could do to prioritize it. And so we are prioritizing features that you're asking for, so like character customization. But I think because it went through so quick, what we'll do, because people are saying they've missed the leaks, I'll go through and just pause. Yeah, I'll play it and pause it on like key scenes, so you can kind of show off what you've been doing and the rest of the team's doing whilst building the village. So what's happening here then? This starting scene saying like travel to farm. What is this going to be the area like players spawn into when they get into the village, or is it elsewhere?
Currently, yeah. So that's going to be the sort of travel point to your farm, and then when you enter there, that should be where all the other players appear, basically.
Awesome, that makes sense. Yeah, I think I don't know if this is connect. Does it connect to the bridge in the homestead? Is that kind of where this is leading towards?
Yeah. So that'll be
feature.
So the bridge in the homestead, which is the top right of the map to the northeast. This is essentially connecting to that bridge, although this bridge is sort of facing the wrong direction. Doesn't matter. It's
going somewhere else.
Maybe there's multiple bridges.
Yeah, no, I'm super excited to show off more of the village. So this is one of my like favorite scenes coming in. Oh, just that stopped it, but you know, like those fences are new as well, aren't they? With kind of green.
They're new but old. They were in the project a long time ago. We just didn't really set them up properly, I think because of some tech issues, but finally we've been able to get them fixed and sorted. So this is like a really nice pond area. Hopefully that's a good visual target for the rest of the map as well.
Yeah, I'm super pumped about that.
That's a no-go area. Yeah.
A no-go area. Okay. Is that where the walls are blocking it off at the top? Yeah,
that'll be blocked off because it's not ready yet.
Cool. Yeah, I think that's one of the things we should probably touch on. Like with the village, what we're trying to do is have areas that are kind of almost 90% fully fleshed out, like you'd probably see in later forms of game development. But to be able to get the village out to you in a state where you can play it soon, there is going to be areas which aren't ready. So this is the whole point of being in alpha release. So for us, for example, in the top right of your screen now, you can see kind of like it's almost like a transparent I don't know what that's called, like the yellow or the white and the yellow or white and gray, stairs. And that kind of that purple, like that won't obviously be there. It's actually in the release of the game. So I think the main intention is to box off certain areas of the village. So just there, you can't get to them yet. Because there's one thing I should say is the village map is huge. Like, I ran around it and I got lost a few times just for how big it is, which is cool.
Yeah, we want to create an actual sort of townscape environment, right? So players can run around and actually make it feel like a town rather than it being like a tiny enclave of a village.
Yeah, no, I think that's probably one of the things we're super excited for is kind of see what players do as well, because we completely got that wrong when it came to certain elements of Farm Fest. Like we look, oh, players won't try that, and then it was, there was homes in the sky. Build mode was getting pushed to its limits. So yeah, it's super cool. So can we touch a little bit on what is this in the center of the town? Obviously, you don't have to go too much into exactly.
So obviously you guys are aware of shards. I'm not going to touch upon that today, but this is the frost spire that creates the shards and other types of things that are going to go on. Actually, I don't think I can go into it today, but it's it's one of the mysteries around Moonfrost. That's going to be quite exciting for you guys to explore yourselves, which is why I don't really want to spoil it right now. The more interesting part is the hole to the abyss right next to it, which we've tried to corner off. This was broken for some reason in the game, and the tech is very specific, the tiling tech, which we'll go into in the next slide. But it basically, because it's still work in progress, it means sometimes you might make a hole, and then that hole is really hard to fix. So the inhabitants of Moonfrost have had to just basically corner it off.
All I'm saying is try not to push each other down the hole. You don't know what's down there. So it'll be quite interesting to see what that turns into. Be almost like there might be something underneath. Who knows? You have to find out.
I think in our playtest we were pushing each other down there, weren't we?
I think it became automatically a feature. It's not a bug, it's a feature. It's like a drainage pipe. So cool, we're going down here. So this area, you said this is going to be kind of the pub area. So the Frosty Moon. Obviously, people have seen the Medium article, which I can definitely link up to that afterwards, so people can take a read. And then is this going to be a beer garden? Because I'm liking the sound of that.
I like beer gardens. Beer gardens are cool. I don't know. We think about what to do with the placement of it, and I think there's almost like a little space around the outside that leads to the bridge, which we're going to do some sort of waterfall feature, which will look cool. So it might be a nice area to also have a beer garden. So we're just trying to figure out where the best part to do it is. So this is all going to change. The big white glaring blocks, by the way, are all placeholder. So if you see any of them, that is just for now.
Yeah, that's a very good shout out. Yeah, so that those will change, and that's kind of the areas you probably just saw then when we were running past, kind of more stopping players from getting to certain places. We should probably touch on roofs. We can see roofs now, and there's chimneys and there's features. So that's massive as well compared to Alpha Release 2 Farming Fest.
Yep, absolutely. So the roofs are completely new. I'm now looking at them and realizing that they look a little bit off, so I might need to go and fix them. But the roofs are in now. The chimneys are also in, but they won't be ready for build mode. So these are again very sort of temporary type roofs. There's something that we're still working on tech-wise to see if there's something we can do a little bit nicer for players, so it's just much more intuitive for them to add roofs. But that's going to be something that we're going to build towards.
Awesome, yeah, and that's a good call out. Even with Farming Fest, we knew there was no roofs. As soon as we built up in the map, we knew there was a lot of issues, but players still decided, you know what, let's build high. And what was one of the biggest surprising factors for us was how you built roofs in Farming Fest. And like your creativity with those floor tiles. So we said the floor tiles were designed to be inside your home, obviously on like the ground floor and any floors in the home. But you use floor tiles to create paths around the map, decorate areas of the map, use it for roofs, and like it didn't look bad. Like how you use the floor tiles, it still looked really good. But we are slowly getting there when it comes to like the fully fleshed out build mode. Like you said, it's a really, really big feature for people who don't know game development. Like I don't know game development technically. When I sat down with Joe and the team, and Joe's talked to me through about how build mode works, how many different like puzzle pieces fit into creating these walls and these homes. It's really, really challenging when it comes to roofs. So we will need a bit more time when it comes to player-facing build mode roofs. But you can kind of see the direction we're going with in the village. So yeah, awesome. And then you said, so Lemon Shop, obviously owned by Walter, who is the NPC everyone met. I'd say the non-spicy NPC everyone met in Farming Fest. This is so his store. You said it's going to be one of the buildings that's almost like fully fledged, fully finished, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. So this is going to be the most up to date building. This has probably taken quite a lot of time just to put together, just because of our tech system, which I'll go into again in a second. But everything that's going into this is going to be like our visual target. So you will expect to see the rest of Moonfrost eventually looking up to this standard, hopefully.
Awesome.
There was a question about what do we expect to buy from Lemons. The answer is probably lemons, and maybe apples, and pears, and potatoes.
Yeah, I'd say
maybe not lemons. Obviously not.
We've obviously got like big backstories and big plans when it comes to the characters of Moonfrost, and one of those was we've been kind of almost leaving small breadcrumbs. So we produced something called a Dear Diary, and this is a diary series from Ava, and that's kind of the character we're playing in this video. And that touched on Walter and his history, about his store and what things you could buy. So it's really like we've left breadcrumbs throughout development. So if you want to go and find out these things ahead of the public, I'd suggest just looking at our old content, our old articles. So some of the things obviously you can expect. So you can see like the seed vending machines, which are in your farm on Farming Fest. So they have got those outside of the buildings or outside of Lemons. So you can probably guess what those were used for and what maybe you could buy in Lemon's store. So yeah, awesome. Should we jump on to the next topic? And if anyone wants to see this video before we finish, just let us know. We can obviously jump back through into that as well. And then we've still got loads of time for questions at the end when it comes to kind of art, what Joe is doing for the game, if there's any particular things like, oh, why is this created this way when it comes from the art style. So awesome. Right, next up, what have we got?
Right, so yeah, this is a sped up version of the this is like the terrain system, right? The map editor. Is the video playing for you, Jace?
I've just paused it. Do you want to give it a quick intro on what this is before?
Oh yeah, sure. So I'll give an intro actually. So what you see on the right is the map editor tab, which is what we use just to put everything into the game. And the reason why we use this is because we're using a very specific tile-based system, and this system is very intricate and very specific for what we're doing, because we want to make everything pixel perfect in the game. We don't want to have any like sliding pixels, any jittering. We want it to be as true to like a pixel art game as possible, but we're also navigating in 3D space. So there's a lot of technical elements behind just trying to make sure that it is as perfect and pristine as possible. And we're all perfectionists here, so we just want to make it as good as we can, which to timing doesn't always work out. But we're going to try our best. So I guess we can just play the video and I can run through what's going on.
Awesome. Right, we're playing.
Yeah, so this here is just, again, sped up. This is how we sort of build all the terrain and all the heights and layers. So as you can see, that was like the ground. We can also paint paths. So depending on what it's connected to, we will also project different types of textures upon those paths. You might see some pink areas, and those are areas in which they're kind of not fixed yet, because obviously it's a still work in progress, like there, for example. But yeah, this is kind of how we're putting everything together, and it's a very intricate system, like I said, and hopefully we can expand it even further soon. But yeah, obviously you can see lots of different shapes in which you make it. This won't be public facing yet. We can say that it won't be, just because it's still got so many things that need fixing, as you can see here. But yeah, this is how we've been building, and the tech is, like I said, work in progress. So Yeah,
I think that's one of the big things. Oh, Karen, sorry.
No, I was going to say there was also an image on the slide which shows the texture that we use for a terrain, for example, which we could show.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll probably bring that up so then players can see that as well. And this is one of the big things. Like Joe mentioned there, like it's not like public facing or player facing yet. This is what we're kind of alluding towards with like build mode. If we can get build mode in a good place, and like when I say if, it's more of when we can get build mode in a really good place when it comes to how you actually feel when you're playing the game. Is there any UI issues, or does everything work very, very smooth? It then allows us in the future to maybe open more doors, because that's essentially terraforming your map, and that like isn't planned yet for Moonfrost. But with creating these unique independent systems, like this is purely full Moonfrost, it does open a door to us for creating whole new areas of the map and at relative speed as well. Obviously, when it comes to set dressing and building it out, just like the village, it's obviously going to take a little bit of time, but you can see where we're going with this for the future. So at the moment, there's two maps. There's the village and then there's your farm, but we have the ability to create these new maps at a pretty good speed when it comes to art assets, because that's one of the big things that art team's been doing, is building out a load of assets just like this. So it's very exciting.
Yeah, there's definitely like lots more to scale upon with this system, but yeah, it does allow you to build things really quickly and keep it pixel perfect.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll jump back onto the slide now.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, let's do it.
Can we go back one slide? Actually, I think there was a picture of the terrain. Was it?
That one was removed, so I'll pull that up and put it into Discord afterwards, so people can see the different tile or amount of terrain tiles in one tile.
Yeah, it's just to build one thing, right? It's a lot of pieces. So yeah, here is is a feature that we're trying to build. So a waterfall feature, as you can see on the left, was what was in the trailer. This was built using an old render pipeline and some old shaders, so it needs a considerable amount of work for it to look the same as it did in that trailer, which was like last year. So we want to spend some time on just updating it so that it is going to work for the village and anywhere else that we want to build waterfalls, basically. But yeah, these are like some of the small things that we really want to add into the game that's going to really sort of be like a breathtaking moment, like a really cool looking waterfall. Moments like this is something we're working towards, and should be coming, maybe not in the next release, but hopefully in future releases it will come out.
Yeah, that's exciting. I think one of the things is we're trying to get things in front of you as fast as possible, in the sense of like with the new features coming in, it's all well and good kind of bringing in something else to do, but we really want to hit what we set out to do, which was create like a premium experience and world. So that's why we're putting time and effort into these, even just like scenarios and features. Quite a few people were saying like, can we walk in the water? Can we swim in the water? And things like that. So at the moment, you can obviously see the players standing in the middle of the water, but maybe you don't want to do that in the future. I don't know if there's going to be like other things in the game. So when it comes to water inhabitants, so to speak.
Yeah, we'll see. We're not quite Zoras from Zelda yet, but maybe there's something.
Yeah, no, I've been playing quite a few different games where if you enter the water, it's a danger zone. So it'd be interesting to see if that's in Moonfrost or if it's just like fish. That'd be fun. Not many games. So sweet. Let's jump on to the next slide. So let's talk about the Frosty Moon pub.
So this
favorite
is probably
place.
the most exciting thing, right? We've been intricately just working on this. I think Dimitri has been absolutely loving working on the pub. He's put so much attention to detail on this, and we want to bring like life to this, because this is going to be the central sort of place that people want to hang out and have a beer or a gin and tonic, whatever. Or an alcohol-free beverage, who knows? Anyway, so the pub is very intricate, and it's something that we'll be working on over the next few weeks, so it won't be in the next build, but it's something that we're really trying to get into the project as soon as we can, really.
Yeah, I think that's what we're trying to do with the pub. Obviously, a lot of different games have kind of villages and towns, and having a center of that village and town. But Moonfrost takes a lot of inspiration from the United Kingdom, and one of the things about the UK is kind of the pubs of the UK you can't really find anywhere else. So if you've never been to the UK, we want to be able to give you that pub-like experience within Moonfrost, which really makes it kind of unique as well. And a lot of the process, I don't want to touch too much on kind of your stuff, Joe, but like how art is even created in Moonfrost is incredible, or I find it incredible, with the level of detail where it goes into like real life references and kind of creating the perfect amalgamation of real life and then also in-game. So how do we make this actually make sense to the in-game world of Moonfrost too? So yeah, going to harvest those ingredients and make your original drink, Jeremy's saying. So people seem to like the pub, which is cool. One frosty drink, please. And this is what we can kind of do from Nia's. We could almost lean into the community and be like, okay, when eventually we get crafting, as in like cooking crafting into the game, what do we want to do in the pub? Do we want to kind of look at is there community input for like different types of drinks or anything you want to buy in the pub? So someone also mentioned like a drunk effect. So if you, there you go. Yeah, KSP said, will there be a drunk status effect from spending too much time in the pub? And this is cool things we could kind of look into and explore because maybe we do, and that might be quite funny, and maybe it opens a little like side quest somewhere where you can't get home and things like that. So yeah, we're super excited for this feature, but I think the main thing is just showing you the progress of what we're doing, how it's going. And this is probably going to be one of my favorite places in the town, so in the village. Sorry, awesome.
Yeah, we all have a pub.
Sweet, right? Oh, you keep popping up, Joe. Sorry about that.
That's all right. I think we've got some comments about trying to make drinks in the pubs. I think we'll leave that question to Aaron because he can answer that a bit better.
Yeah.
Our
Aaron's
designer.
Aaron's our lead designer with some additional context. So we're going to be trying to get him up on one of these dev discussions too. So that's when you can dive into like, can I do this? Can I do that? He's definitely the person to ask. So
yeah, he's
sweet.
He's going to have a chat with me afterwards. Be like, Joe, you just promised all these things, and now we're going to have to do them. Can't promise anything. Yeah, this is probably the next sort of step. This is like the starting step of how we build everything. So you just saw the pixel art for the pub. Prior to that, you saw everything that was in 3D, that was in the actual game itself. So this here is the first stage, which is the concepting. So we take a lot of references, real world references, and then we start to paint them out into what you see as a concept, like a mood painting. And basically from here, we can then decide, okay, what types of windows do we like? What types of covings do we like? What types of, I guess, structures and signs and everything else. And this is basically the way we work. So it's quite traditional game dev, really. Build up the concepts. We then build the pixel art, which is what you saw with the pub. And then we start getting them into the game, which is a fairly drawn out process, but it's how we like to work things. We want to make it, like you said, quite unique, quite meticulous in the way we present things. But yeah, no, we think it's going to be worth it in the long run because we love what we're making. We really want to make something really cool and eye-catching that everyone really adores. And the whole art team is really putting their all in just to making it as best as they can.
Awesome, and I think it's one of the things like we're trying to get towards is making it unique to Moonfrost, and like this Drift Furniture shop. You'll be able to see this in the village. So in the village at the moment, obviously we've got the kind of like placeholdery and like no-go areas we've created, but we will have like other unique shops that you can kind of explore in the village, just like Drift Furniture. So super exciting to get into that as well. Cool. Should we touch on art style and then we can get around to some kind of more questions from the community, which we can spend some time diving into that because this is directly from the community. So.
Yeah, this was a question like you were saying from the community that we saw someone was asking about like what happened to the old pixel art and why do we go to new style? And I think Gina is probably the best person to go into this because she directed the sort of transition between it. But I think in the sort of short end of that question, we did decide that we wanted to make the artwork pop even more, which is why you see the isometric quarter view angle that we do now have in Moonfrost. So you can see like it's been a big sort of change from the sort of standard top-down pixel art to the more quarter view isometric style. Which then leads us to having a paint over, which is what you see on the right, which does actually look different to how it looks in game. So on the next slide, you will see, on the left is kind of how it looks as a drawn pixel art piece. And then the reason why we put it into 3D is because we can create nice lighting moments like you see on the right image here. So you can see it's obviously like a sundown sort of scene. The pixel art does get affected by the lighting, and you do get these like really nice cinematic moments, which is what we're really trying to make in Moonfrost. It's like every moment to look amazing, to be able to screenshot any moment. So there's a lot of work that has to be done in order to make this, but it's like you said, we want to make something that's really exciting and for players to enjoy.
Yeah, awesome. I think that's one of the big things is what makes Moonfrost unique. And even though our game world is fully kind of unique in what we're trying to create, it's even down to the art style. Instead of going like 2D top down, which there are beautiful games that do that, especially within the pixel art category. But how do we make Moonfrost even more unique? And one of those is kind of the 2D, 3D pipeline and isometric. And that's how we can have a kind of living, breathing world where sunrise and sunset is completely unique. We had wildlife within Farming Fest kind of starting to creep in with kind of butterflies and dragonflies and birds. And we really want you to feel like you're inside of the game, even though it's still a pixel game. We really want to kind of take you on a journey, on an experience, and that's what we're trying to do. So with the village coming in, obviously there's going to be loads of areas which is still work in progress, but there's going to be some areas, like we said, which is going to be almost fully polished, so you can see the final version of where you're going to be spending your time, hopefully, in the future as a player of Moonfrost. So yeah, it's awesome. Sweet. Let's thanks for going through the presentation, Joe. That was absolutely massive, by the way. I don't think people realize how much information was shared there on sneak peeks. It's like there's no other leaks anywhere on the internet to do with the village, and we've pretty much just said, look at all these new areas, look at these new features coming in, and especially going into kind of the art process. So that was massive. So thank you. One thing we do now is just spend some time just talking to the community and then kind of getting your questions for Joe. So anything regarding art, Joe can probably at least give you a better answer than what I can give you from not being an artist. But he has got a lot of experience in kind of a lot of areas of the art pipeline. So please let us know if you have any questions in chat now. Otherwise, I'm going to start to pick some out anyway. Awesome. So one of the things we're saying about isometric style looks really good for especially combat features. So combat, we've had a prototype out. We will be looking into that in the future. We want to kind of get our core game loop down first. So mainly focusing around that kind of farm life sim before diving too deep into combat. Because we have got some big ambitions. But one of the big things we want to do is, like I said, build with you as community. So we'll get your input on it. So I'll reshare the old combat footage after this with the kind of isometric style. It's very, very, very early work in progress, but at least it gives you a glimpse.
Yeah, we did have some discussions around combat. Obviously, that's going to come much, much later, which Aaron could probably touch into, I guess. But we are excited about it. But yeah, it might come a bit later.
Yeah, definitely. Right, cool. There's loads of questions coming in, so thank you, everyone. All right, now we've got so many. Right, I'm just going to start at the top, and we're going to work our way down until we run out of time.
Sure.
So, first one from Abodinosaurus. Will there be a rotate view? It's hard to move things down when you're painting behind the walls.
Yeah, this came up in Gina's chat last time. No is the answer. We will not be rotating. You can rotate things, you just can't rotate the camera. which is why it's isometric.
Yeah,
Sorry, the second point was about how it's hard to place things behind walls. We are working on some things to fix that. There's some like occlusion issues, which we're aware of, and we're working towards that to try and make it just easier just to put things behind walls and stuff.
Yeah, that's one of the things we want to highlight. Like with Moonfrost really trying to push boundaries with how unique we can make the game. Some things we can't do. So with the isometric style, we can't move your camera. So it's the isometric means it's kind of fixed in that one position. But we are trying to make your life a lot easier when it comes to placing, painting, anything to do with build mode. So if you have feedback from the next alpha release, just like you did the last, we'd love to hear it, because everything you say gets read. It gets put into kind of the team's Slack channels and then prioritized and triaged. So a lot of the improvements coming for Alpha Release 3 have come from players, and we've prioritized those. We didn't think that they were so important beforehand from our assumption. You played it and said, no, this is important. So we're now prioritizing those features. So yeah, we're getting excited with that. So from Lewin, did you guys talk about a potential multiplayer mode already? So yes.
Yeah. I think the village is going to be the multiplayer place, right? So that's going to be where everyone gets to hang out, go to the pub. Maybe we get some pubs in the chat. Maybe everyone can just spam pub. Or perhaps skate park. Maybe we'll do skate park. No, I'm joking. We're not going to do skate park. Maybe.
Not yet. I'm on side for skate park, but yeah, I think the pub is more likely to be coming in first than the skate park. But yeah, so how that'll work, the multiplayer at the moment is going to be very, very early. So like I said, with these features we're putting in, they're not simple features. So what you'll probably experience in Alpha Release 3 coming later this month is on your homestead. It's going to be your homestead. No one's going to be able to visit it. It's a completely single player experience, just like Farming Fest. However, with the new map, we're also bringing in a slice or glimpse at multiplayer. So there'll be other players on the map. They'll be using preset characters at the moment because we haven't got character customization built. But you'll be able to run around, talk to other players using a basic chat feature, and kind of start to see where we're going with sharing a social experience with players. When it comes to the future, we've got a lot of plans for multiplayer when it comes to Moonfrost, like farmstead home visiting, also interacting on other people's farms. How we look into that is really like, what level do players want? Do you want to be pretty much building a farm with someone? Do you want people to visit? If they visit, what restrictions do you want? Because you don't want to let people in and then just destroy everything you've built, obviously. So these are the things we're going to be building after the next release, and we'll be getting your feedback on it. So if you want homestead visiting as a priority, let us know that. But if you wanted other multiplayer elements, we just need you to kind of tell us what you want as players, so we can see if we can accommodate that. Yeah, so do we have a bug catcher? I don't know if you mean a mini game like bug catching, or a bugs as in issues with the build, Jeremy. So we'll probably skip that one. We haven't got any bug catching mini games, but we do have bugs in the build.
Imagine just Walter with a giant net just running around the farm.
I think that'd be quite funny to try and catch the animals on the homestead, especially chickens. So that's something new as well. So we have put chickens back in the game again. So you will be having those on your homestead, hopefully. I think we played it earlier and they were in there. We've touched on kind of the village, but I'll bring this one up from Isidorf anyway. So he was saying about how to differentiate players in the AR3.
Sorry, let me read that again. So we're gonna, I don't know if we touched on the character customization yet.
Probably don't go too deep into the character customization. That might be a bit too many spoilers.
We're thinking about it, okay? Oops, dropped something.
Yeah.
I'm like Tom Holland from Spider-Man. I'm just dropping everything. No, it's something we're thinking about. So that would obviously be one way. But for now, it would just be the name on top of your head. Obviously, you get two options at the moment, which is Ava or Kyung. So you get to choose either one of those characters. And then obviously names on top of your head. But yeah, future stuff will come soon.
Yeah, so there will be kind of a full level of making your own unique person in Moonfrost. But for the Alpha Release 3, you can have 2 characters. There'll be names over the kind of top of the players, so you can see who they are. So you can still chat with those people. So, like I said, very, very early work in progress multiplayer, but it is still multiplayer. So we're super excited to see that. And one of the big things for us as well is like a server load. Like we need to see how many people we can hold on one map, because if it gets busy, I don't know who's played kind of more old school games. Like I played a lot of RuneScape, and that gets busy. So how many people can we get on Moonfrost, the village map, with chat channels and interacting with each other? And as soon as we bring in other customization options for players, that's when we start to see everyone kind of taking shape their own unique user and person in Moonfrost. So awesome. Let's ask another one. So, any discussion about the Frost Hunters NFT art? So, well done. It's an art question. You snuck it in there, even though it's more kind of a Web3 focus than game dev. So, no, we're not going to be sneak peeking any of the art for that collection, sadly. So, you can ask, but there won't be any sneak peeks on that at the moment for this. More updates will be coming this week and next week when it comes to our Frost Hunter Genesis collection, including the art and also kind of the platform, because those and the date. So just make sure that if you are on the whitelist, you get your wallet addresses in by Friday, please. We've pushed it out already, and it's on the email. Is there a date for Alpha 3 from Mr. Tolomi? No, not yet. Not publicly facing anyway. So what I just said was about stress testing. So what we're doing now is making sure the build's in a playable and secure state for our players. There was so much feedback from the last playtest, and a lot of it was kind of there's kind of two-sided. There was kind of the shard stuff, so as in the leaderboards, exploits, and there was also the gameplay loop. And what we need to make sure we do for Alpha Release 3 is we've addressed those big factors. So there isn't a date yet for Alpha 3, but we will be providing updates in the coming days and weeks when it comes to when is it, how many players, how to get access, because it still will be a closed alpha. So this won't be public to everybody. So if you're in watching this live stream, I'm probably going to say you're probably more than likely to get access purely from the fact that you're following the updates so much. So when we say, hey, sign up, we've got a short period of time to get more users in, people that kind of attend these live streams will be the best person to onboard for us because you want to help us build as well. So I can't guarantee you a space, but it's probably more than likely you have a higher chance than just some random person that has never heard about Moonfrost or only checks in now and again. So awesome. There's so many questions. I think there's about 60 questions. So thank you, everyone. I'm trying to get through them. We've got 10 minutes left. So
there was what's on your desk today. I don't think that's going to be. I mean, I can quickly answer that. That's a watch and a charger and a glass of water. There you go. That's what I have on my desk.
Yeah, I haven't got that much interesting stuff on my desk today. I've literally just got like a water bottle. My candle holder's over here, obviously. New merch line dropping, hopefully, if I can ask the team to make them. But no, yeah, cool. Right, we jump into we got about 9 more minutes of Joe's time before he gets back into building up Moonfrost. So I'm going to open a few more questions up. We've covered kind of a fair amount of these already. So how about zooming in with the camera? Yes, nice and easy. We do accommodate zooming in and out. So I think it's on the scroll wheel at the moment. Is that right, Joe?
Yeah, you can just scroll, zoom in and out.
Yeah, so that you can, and that's really, really useful, I think, with utilizing the hotkey C, which put you in our camera mode. So you can take like really cool screenshots about UI. So that's pretty cool. Loads of pub.
There's one about skateboard. I don't have a skateboard on my desk, Jeremy. Sorry about
that. But yeah, the cool fact though, snowboard. So
yeah,
good rabbit hole.
Snowboarding in Moonfrost. Wow, that'd be cool.
Well, the weather system's really unique, isn't it? So I think eventually when we do have kind of seasons, how players move around the map could be very, very cool.
Oh
So,
man, that
but
would be
yeah.
really cool, right? Imagine if there's like a mountain resort you can go to.
I say there's a potential. Like we saw earlier with Joe showing with the kind of map editor how we build out maps. Like if we have the right tiles, I'm just
Maybe.
saying that potentially.
I love how no one mentioned snowboard, but then you just started talking about snowboard resort, Jace. So you're leaking stuff now.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I will literally go off topic every single time, just because I like skateboarding and I like snowboarding, and then I now share it with everybody and try and enforce it into the game. But I'm not the designer, so we will speak to Aaron about what's coming up with that. Cool. This one's a really, really cool one from Cairo. So, how does Moonfrost ensure a balance between relaxing gameplay and engaging challenges? And then, can you share any details about the type of stories and adventures players can uncover in Moonfrost? So, yeah, do you want to take apart a little bit of
that? Yeah, I can do. I guess because we're building with the community now, what we're actually going to be putting in the game is different from what we originally planned, which had changed slightly. But we can talk about things that we love and things that we really want to make, but they won't necessarily be things that are going in the game. Can I talk about that? Maybe that's still relevant.
We probably should hold off on that one. That's mainly Joe's leading, I think, towards kind of stories, adventures. Oh, you got a thumb up as well with your emoji.
I don't know how did
that. I'm not sure. But no, yeah. So we have a deeper story with Moonfrost, and we're starting to unveil that. So we've started to introduce, kind of like we said on the previous live stream with Gina, was about the Frost Hunter and kind of what that means and why everybody is a Frost Hunter. But the grander scheme of Moonfrost, it's still to be unveiled. So we do have a lot of depth that you haven't actually seen yet. Remember, this is still a closed alpha. We're not even at open alpha yet. So we don't want to give away too much of that story until you can actually play that experience for you. But yeah, that's kind of the second part of your question. And the third part of your question was how to get a balance between relaxing gameplay and engaging challenges. This was something we really struggled with for Alpha Release 2 for Farming Fest. We'll be completely honest. We've held our hands up with it. The leaderboards kind of made it too competitive with the time frame and that. So we've talked to you, the community. We're changing the leaderboards for the next release, for Alpha Release 3. And we want to try and get that perfect sweet spot, which is going to be really hard. But hopefully you can help us get there as a community and players of making it enjoyable, relaxing, and also giving you that kind of competitive, engaging challenge as well. So, and it may not be perfect for Alpha Release 3, but I believe we're going in the right direction with it, and we can only get to that final destination with your support and input. So thank you. I think that's one of the best things. Talking about Animal Crossing, yeah, massive reference to Moonfrost, especially when it comes down to like collectability. A lot of this stuff we will head towards Aaron at straight after and say, hey, the community will know about this.
There's also some questions. There's also some questions around like Zelda references. It's a really long way back, but it was about holding chickens and throwing them, which I absolutely love, by the way, just because I'm a Zelda fan. So please post that in the Aaron chat because he will also love that.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. I like the chickens in Moonfrost, but I would like to be able to engage with them. But it's not what we like or we want. We want to hear your thoughts from the community. So if you want to kind of almost have mini games or interactions with animals, we would need obviously that to be a large majority of players to prioritize that feature. But like Zelda, I think that'd be awesome. Will we see Moonfrost art in AR3, the drifty down sparkly bits from Tim?
Oh, that's the Moonfrost, yeah. Frostfall, sorry. Yeah.
I like
so
how they
I
described it.
Yeah, it's Frostfall. Yeah, so I put that in a couple of weeks ago, actually. It was actually came from it was from our trailer, so the same sort of issue with the shaders from the trailer for the waterfall, which did take considerable amounts of work to get that working. So the sparkly down thing from a dev side, that was basically something we worked on. As for what it actually does, I guess that's a future question, right?
Yeah, no, that's that all links into a game feature we haven't fully disclosed about yet, or highlighted, but also how we're utilizing our weather system for that. It's going to be very important to players, but we don't want to dive into that until that feature's fully ready to go, because it's super exciting. You can probably start to see the breadcrumbs in other content. But yeah, cool. We've got like a couple more minutes now. So let's pick two more.
I'm just loving We Want KFC. I love that.
The chat is going so quick. I might even need to get like one of the community helpers out on board to help with the chat moderator of the stream. We've got a lot of comments coming in, so we really appreciate it though. I'm going to enjoy just going back through this stream and reading all the comments and then trying to make some content out of it to address to people about what's going on. So sweet. So AIK, we'll bring up one of your comments. You gave us a load of feedback last time, so it's only fair we kind of address some of the comments or questions. What is the main purpose of the village? What experiences will it bring to players? Are there activities or events to make players interact and connect to each other in the village? I'd say overall, yes. The grand vision of the village, it will be the central hub for all players. And there's going to be a multitude of events happening, different things like the pub. It might have different events going on inside it. You'll be doing quests or tasks. When it comes to player interaction and also NPC interaction. And that's one of the big things we're heading towards. We won't have that for Alpha Release 3. Like I said, Alpha Release 3 is more like the minimal viable version of the village. So we want to be able to get it out there to show you what we're heading towards. So the main purpose of the village for Alpha Release 3 would be to show you where we're heading, being number one, and to see the level of detail we're putting into certain areas which we want to get the whole village up to. And then also number two would be interaction with kind of starting to see more interaction with NPCs. So with like Walter and his shop, obviously we had Walter and Ash. They were in your homestead last time. You may start seeing those around kind of the village and be able to interact with them there. They may say certain different lines. There may be certain little sneaks at things if you pick up on certain wording that they say. So eventually it'll be the central hub for all players to interact with each other. And I think that's one of the big things with character customization, which isn't coming for Alpha Release 3, but it will be for later on, is that'll be like one of the coolest things for me, is walking into the village and seeing everyone unique. And I'm really looking forward to seeing the unique players, what they design when it comes to character customization, but also what they'll be wearing. So what will you have equipped? How will you get that item? And that's something we haven't really alluded to yet, but we will be in the future. But every player will have a different kind of version of them in the game world, which is going to be really, really cool. Sweet. We've got one more question, if that's all right, Joe. I know we're over time, but I said two. So, and then we will head back and let you crack on with work. So, one more. Let's go. One of the most recent ones. Do you want an easy question, or do you want a hard question when it comes to art?
Either is fine.
Either is fine. That's cool.
Better, right?
Yeah, let's do that. So, Tim, this is a good one. So, why do y'all throw away what seems to be a whole rendering pipeline too slow for casuals?
Yeah, I saw a couple of questions from Tim actually. There are very like dev focused, which is great to hear from. It seems like you might also be a developer, perhaps. So I guess an answer to you is that it was basically a better way for us to render pixels. Just giving the simple solution here. Yeah, it was basically a way for us to have rendering done in a much more efficient way, so that we could do things like lighting, things like shaders, interactions, everything else. Just basically helped the way things were layered as well on screen. We just had to change the render pipeline. But yeah, that's the short end of it. I could go into more detail, but I'm not sure how many people would understand.
I think it would probably be you and Tim, and maybe a few handful of us. So I think that's kind of what these kind of dev discussions are kind of for, though, to kind of give an overview of kind of how things are being built and why things are being built. Because when it comes to rendering, I am not probably not in my forte to talk about that. So I really appreciate your time, Joe, to kind of coming in and talking us about the art process. Just to like briefly summarize, so we've learned all about Joe, what he's worked on in the past, what he's working on now for Moonfrost specifically. We've dived into the village. You've seen pretty much a large majority of the playable element of the village upcoming in the next release. So you can probably start to identify what things are going to be happening in there. Really big point to note is don't fall in the hole, otherwise something may happen. So don't fall in the hole or put each other in, please. You can't have any drinks in the pub right now, so there shouldn't be anyone stumbling into it anyway, but we'll find out. We've also touched on like the map editor, so how we actually build worlds in Moonfrost, or not worlds, but different maps that you'll be playable. And this really shows us, or shows you, should I say, what we can achieve in the future. The whole point in the art team building out everything so meticulously is to have that option in the future to be able to create new experiences for players fast and iteratively from direct player feedback. So that's massive for us. We've touched on the waterfall from the trailer and how that's kind of getting closer into the game. Like I said, you're probably not going to be swimming anytime soon in that area, but I think it'd be really, really cool to kind of highlight that going forward as well. But yeah, that's brief summary of kind of what's happened in this live stream. I really appreciate your time, Joe, jumping on for dev discussion. And everyone else in the community as well. It's absolutely massive. We've almost got up to 100 viewers, and literally this is just me and Joe, or mainly Joe, talking about what he does for Moonfrost when it comes from an art standpoint. And one of the big things is like the questions coming in are absolutely awesome. I'm going to jump in the questions. I'll be in Discord afterwards, trying to summarize it all, which is going to be super hard because this is quite a complex topic. But yeah, just really, really excited for kind of where it's going for Moonfrost.
We can always do these again. We can always go into more detail in the future. So yeah, looking forward to that.
Sweet. Okay, right. One last time, thank you everyone for showing up today. There's going to be updates come out this week, so please listen to the notice board. There will be some things which a lot of you will be excited about. There's going to be updates when it comes to game development, Alpha Release 3, the whitelist, the upcoming Frost Hunter Genesis collection. So please make sure you're active in the community. It would make my life a lot easier when it comes to answering questions. But as always, we're going to leave you with more Moonfrost music, changing the vibe slightly. We are working on how we're going to be releasing our music, but please hang around for about 2 minutes and let us know what you think of this music. And thank you, Joe. Thank you, everybody, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.